Tertiary education fees could rise by 8% in 2017, but not for students who can't afford it. A memorial service will be held for the late Kwaito legend Mandoza ahead of his funeral on Saturday. A very happy Monday to you. You're watching eNews Direct. I'm Duduzile Ramela.
And I'm Sandy Legangose. Good evening.
To comment on any of our stories, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct.
And tonight our hashtags are Fees at 2017 and RIP Mandoza.
Tertiary education fees will be hiked in 2017, but by no more than 8%. That's the recommendation from Higher Education Minister Bladen Nzimande. He's, however, tossed the ball back to universities, saying they must use their discretion and determine their own fee increments. The hikes don't apply to students who can't afford it.
The country's tertiary institutions have been given the green light to hike tuition fees, but there's an 8% cap.
With the caution that this has to also take into account affordability to students and therefore has to be transparent, reasonable. We need to ensure that those who can afford to pay must pay.
The increase will not affect all students in the same way.
All NSFAS qualifying students, as well as the so-called missing middle, that is, students whose families earn above the NSFAS threshold but who are unable to support their children to access higher education, will experience a no-fee increase in 2017.
Minister Nzimande believes government has gone out of its way to ensure that poor students are cushioned from the pending increases. He says come next year, over 70% of the student population will be unaffected by the fee adjustment, as government is doing its bit to assist. But who falls into the categories for poor and so-called missing middle students?
We are looking at all students in undergraduate programs who come from families who earn up to a maximum of 600,000 per annum.
The student leader attended Minister Nzimande's briefing, hoping for some good news. But she believes the announcement will only divide the student population.
Are you saying that I'm too rich? Are you saying that I'm too poor? I mean, it does bring about a sort of, you're categorizing students and you're putting students in a very difficult place.
Government estimates it would take about 2.5 billion rand to fulfill its promise to qualifying students. Where that will come from is yet to be determined. Leranzo Temba, Pretoria.
The funeral service for Kwaito legend Mandoza will take place on Saturday. He died yesterday after a long battle with cancer. A memorial service will be held at Johannesburg's Standard Bank Arena on Wednesday. Mandoza's family addressed the media in Soweto this afternoon. They spoke about the last hours of his life and thanked the public for their support. Mandoza, whose real name is Mduduzi Shabalala, has been praised for uniting people with his music.
He was an icon, a hit maker, a multi-award winner.
For my side, let me put it this way. For my side, I'm not only a Kwaito artist. I'm a musician.
Mduduzi Edmund Shabalala was also known as Mandoza. Coming from Zola in Soweto, he had a tough upbringing, but that didn't stop him from achieving his dreams.
They were thugs, they were people who kills people who rape, you know what I'm saying? So we show the youngsters of Zola and Soweto that there's still another way to survive in life.
His musical career began when he was part of the group Chiskop. Although they achieved much success, the husky-voiced artist knew there was more out there for him. And so his solo journey began in 1999. His hit Ngalagata achieved multi-platinum status. It's regarded as the first Kwaito song to appeal to traditionally white radio station audiences. Other firm favorites included Godoba and 50-50. The superstar also had a brief stint as an actor. He played a supporting role in the rugby-themed film Number 10.
It was tops, and I had fun, and I didn't know I could act, you know. For me, it was like I was flowing.
Mandoza has proved time and time again that a young man from a township can achieve almost everything he sets his sights on.
Right, let's get some reaction from our top story now. There's been mixed reaction to government's 2017 fee hike recommendations, while the University of Johannesburg has welcomed it. Wits University says it's consulting with stakeholders before making a final decision. At the University of the Free State, students have disrupted classes.
The University of Johannesburg has come out in favour of Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimande's recommended cap of 8% for fee hikes. UJ says government's assistance means that around 75% of its students will have no fee increases next year. In other parts of the country, the announcement was met less favourably. More security has been deployed at Wits University. Police are also on standby should any violence break out. Students have vowed to shut the institution down, saying they'll continue the fight for free education. The institution says it's consulting with stakeholders before making a final decision.
We've spoken about a corporate tax, which is internationally much lower than other countries. We've spoken about a reprioritization of spending. The fact is that free education is feasible and it is possible, but we lack a political will to realize it.
At the University of Cape Town, students have vowed to render their institution ungovernable. They say free education remains at the top of their list of demands. The university says it will now meet with internal stakeholders to prepare recommendations on fees and financial aid support for next year.
We shouldn't be engaging in useless and toothless commissions and conversations. We should be engaging, investing our strength and knowledge on the possibility or models of free education.
At Stellenbosch University, students say they're going back to the drawing board to decide on a way forward, in the lead-up to a mass meeting with Vice-Chancellor Wim de Villiers on Friday.
Now, many girls miss out on school when it's that time of the month due to a lack of sanitary pads. We caught up with two schoolgirls from Alexandra Township who say that's their reality. Here's their story.
These two young girls say that time of the month is a lonely period for them. They've both had to use unconventional methods to deal with not having sanitary pads during their menstrual cycle.
Why? Because angakajoli, I haven't thought even tola a boyfriend. Then sometimes it happens with then I agreed.
The 15-year-old says having sanitary towels that are her own depends on what time of the month she gets her period. Her schoolmate says her unemployed mother already struggles to put food on the table, so pads are the last thing the family stresses about.
Maybe
the girls say menstruation steals away from them fully enjoying their teenage years.
If I'm because I don't have my pads, I feel like I'm missing out. Maybe I'll fail.
One of the girls' mothers can't hold back the tears as she talks about the family's struggle.
And uyacinga ungayazi wenza amatyala izikoloto ongazazibuza zibhatala ngantoni. Kaba ndihlala ndiquestion uNkulunkulu uba inoba why. Mna ndiyedwa kuso.
She says sanitary towels have always been a luxury even when she was growing up.
Ndandingenazo that's why ndinayo le nto yamalaphu. Ndingakhona ukubafundisa. Bafunde, baphumelele, babe zizinto, batshintshe impilo yethu. Ndingabashibe kule meko nam endigugela kuyo ngoku nam.
While there's no immediate solution to the issue of free access to sanitary towels, the girls say they hope someone out there will assist so that they too can focus on just being teenagers. Zikhona Chona, Alexandra Township.
Further afield, Chinese authorities have released aerial footage of the devastating aftermath of a mudslide. Several people who were seriously injured were airlifted to hospital. Torrential rainfall fell over the weekend, triggering the disaster, severely damaging homes and businesses in 10 townships. Officials are still searching for any stranded residents. And at least 15 people have died after a boat capsized in Thailand. Rescuers continue to search for 11 people that have gone missing in the Chao Phraya River. A double-decker tourist boat carrying around 100 Thai Muslims on a pilgrimage attempted to overtake a sand barge but collided with a barrier. Police say the boat was carrying about 50 people more than it was supposed to. The boat's captain has been detained and faces charges of reckless endangerment and overloading the boat beyond safety limits. No foreigners are believed to be among the dead.
Time now for your social media with Duduzi.
It is indeed. Thank you so much, Sandile. Another blow for SABC Chief Operating Officer Hlaudi Motsweneng. The Supreme Court of Appeal has dismissed his application for leave to appeal a Western Cape High Court ruling that invalidated his appointment. The court had found Motsweneng's appointment from acting to permanent COO was unlawful and irrational. DA leader Musi Maimane says Motsweneng has to vacate the SABC without delay. The public protector earlier found that Motsweneng lied to the broadcaster about his qualifications. We end with this. Fantasy drama series Game of Thrones has now scored more Emmys than any other primetime TV show. It took home 3 awards at the show in Los Angeles, including the nod for Outstanding Drama Series for the 2nd year in a row. Game of Thrones dethroned the record set by the sitcom Frasier with a record-breaking total haul of 38 Emmys. Another HBO production, Veep, won Best Comedy Series. Both productions fended off challenges from newcomers. If you've missed any of the stories we're tracking for you, you can of course find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct. Or you can head on over to our website. That's eNCA.com/direct. Your business news as well as your weather after this. Consumers could be paying more for red meat over the festive season. This, according to agricultural economists at FNB. Tight supply and increased consumer demand could drive prices up by as much as 15%. Now, this means consumers could fork out at least R5.70 more per kilogram of beef and just under R10 more per kilogram of lamb. Due to the drought, there's been substantially more slaughtering this year compared to the past 3 years. The bank expects improved rainfall in coming months to bring relief to livestock farmers who suffered financial losses. Let's see how the markets performed today. Here's Louis with your weather.
Hello everyone. Starting off with a quick check of the satellite loop, we see that the cloud cover persisted today over some parts of Limpopo and Mpumalanga as cooler air continued to push into the area, keeping temperatures low for those provinces, while a bit of increased sunshine over Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal helped to bring slightly warmer conditions to those provinces. A bit of an offshore wind towards the Cape provinces warmed temperatures over those areas, and it was a sunny day for much of the Northern and Western Cape in particular. A look at Tuesday's forecast, and we're expecting it to be a sunny and warmer day all across KwaZulu-Natal, most areas getting into the upper 20s. And for the Eastern Cape, it's also going to be a much warmer day for this province, although cooler for Port Elizabeth, where you can expect a fresh wind to be blowing from the southwest during the afternoon hours. It's also going to be windy for Langebaan along the west coast, a high of only 20 degrees. Thick cirrus cloud will be passing overhead all across the Western Cape. It's also going to be a cooler day along the southern coastline. In the Northern Cape, it'll be mostly clear and dry, a hot day expected for Uppington and and Prieska, where maximum temperatures will be above 30 degrees. And after a chilly morning in the Free States, it will be a pleasant afternoon as sunshine will warm things up all across the province. Much the same for the Northern Cape, where Vryburg climbs to 31 in the afternoon. Mahikeng comfortable at 28 degrees. And after some morning fog over some areas over Limpopo, the afternoon will be sunny, dry and a whole lot warmer. It's also going to be a significantly warmer day over in Mpumalanga. Morning fog patches in places, but those will burn up quickly. And crossing over into Gauteng, where it will be a mostly sunny and dry day. Johannesburg, 25 degrees your maximum. Temperatures finally returning to normal. A look ahead to Wednesday, when it will be dry all across South Africa. Temperatures continue climbing for the northern parts. Pretoria gets to 31. And on Thursday, a weak front brushes along the southern and east coasts of the country with a few showers in places.
Thank you, Louis. After the break, a new parenting course in Japan is attracting single men hoping to transform themselves into the perfect partner. And finally, a new child-rearing course with a twist kicks off in Japan.
It has indeed. It's aimed at single men struggling to attract that special someone.
This child-rearing course aims to attract male bachelors in the hope that it will better their chances of finding a lifelong partner. The course was organized by Osaka-based company Ikumen University with the sole purpose of helping bachelors become marriage-ready. The course includes learning how to bathe and dress a baby, as well as how to understand various views of child rearing. Participants were also taught how to improve spousal communication and were given worksheets to fill out in which they had to state traits women tended to dislike in men. One participant has spent the past half year looking for a marriage partner through matchmaking services, but he's now signed up for some extra help.
During the self-reflection part of the course, I realized I had a tendency to hide my weaknesses or true feelings. I hope to be able to show my more vulnerable side after this.
The course instructor became a father at the age of 17 and believes that marriage statistics would improve if spouses showed mutual support towards marriage and raising children.
I wanted to create a form of certification proving a man's child-rearing skills and support for married life. I think we need to change the Japanese mindset of men equal work and women equal child-rearing.
The day-long course is the first of its kind to be held in Tokyo.
Here are your top stories before we say goodbye. Tertiary education fees could rise by 8% in 2017, but not for students who can't afford it. A memorial service will be held for late Kwaito legend Mandoza ahead of his funeral on Saturday. And that's your Monday edition of eNews Direct.
It is indeed. We're back. Same time tomorrow. Rhythm City still on the way.
Until tomorrow night, have a fantastic evening. Bye-bye.